Hello, dear students. Welcome to I-Fal. My name is Teacher Nikki, and I am here to have another video lesson with you. So I am so excited to talk about a new topic for you today that will help you understand and construct better sentences using the English language. I know that these lessons will be very helpful for you to communicate using the English language that are grammatically correct and properly constructed, considering that we will be talking about some grammar topics. So I want you to concentrate on our lesson today, pay attention to our sample sentences, and please practice them very well even after the class. So let's go ahead and start our lesson. Let's go.
So, for the next topic that we have here, we will be understanding independent and your dependent clauses. So, this will be the first part for this topic. Now, from the previous lesson, we have talked about sentence structure and how important it is to understand the two types of clauses that we have, which are your independent and dependent clause. Now, in independent and dependent clauses are actually the two main types of clauses in English or in the English language. And every clause, it's either one or the other. Now, the difference is, okay, as a review, independent clause function or work or clauses can function alone as a complete sentence. So it means they give you a complete thought. Okay, but then a dependent clause, also known as your subordinate clause, needs to join with an independent clause to form a complete sentence or a sentence with a complete thought. Okay, so I hope we are clear about that and we know how to identify the differences of an independent and dependent clause. Okay, so now in another discussion that we have here, let's go and dig deeper on what are dependent and independent clauses. Now, independent and dependent clauses are the two main categories of clause. So it means two main, there could be more clauses that we will be talking about. Now, a clause, as a review, is a group of words that contains at least one subject, or there's a subject, subjects, and at least one verb. But clauses can be either complete or incomplete sentences, depending on their wordings and punctuation. Okay, if the clause alone is a complete sentence, it has the complete meaning, therefore it is considered as an independent clause. Now, if the clause alone is not complete sentence, it is a dependent clause. So let's understand that even better. Now, what are independent clauses? Now, because an independent clause contains both a subject and a verb, a single independent clause is what we call a simple sentence. Okay, this is actually the most basic type of sentence. So if it's just like it has like a single independent clause, then it's a simple sentence. However, you can also combine two or more independent clauses to create a compound sentence. So later on, we will be talking about more of these types of sentences as we go on with our sentence structure. Now, we have the example here. My partner wants to run a marathon together. Okay, but I prefer to watch them. Okay, so as you can see here, we have two, okay, independent clauses. So it's considered as a compound sentence. Okay, again, independent clauses, they actually have a concrete or clear meaning or thoughts. Okay, now, what are dependent clauses? Okay, dependent clauses are a little more complicated to understand compared to independent clauses. Also known as your subordinate clause, dependent clauses alone are not complete sentences, even though they have a subject or a subject and a verb. Dependent clauses need to join with an independent clause to be correct. Okay, that's why it is named as dependent clause. Okay, it depends on your dependent or independent clauses. Now, dependent clauses are usually easy to recognize because they include a subordinating conjunction or relative pronouns. So now these words we already talked about from previous videos. Okay, I would like you to revisit those videos and understand what subordinating conjunction and relative pronouns are. So subordinating conjunctions and relative pronouns are words like because, if, whenever that signal a relationship between the dependent clause and the independent clause it joins. So be careful though, because not all dependent clauses use subordinating conjunction. We have connecting words that we use with them, so that it's not always subordinating conjunction. So we will be talking about more of those later on. Now, dependent clauses are more common than what you might realize, okay? For starters, they include clauses that show a complete action with like a cause-effect relationship to other action. Like for example here, cause-effect relationship. Kunal likes to stay up late because no one bothers him at night. Okay, this is reason. Okay, this they also include all adverbial clauses, okay, which modify verbs and adjectives. Okay, we also talked about this one. Adverbial clauses can add more details, how an action took place, such as when, where, or why. These are your adverb, okay, adverbial clauses. Example: let's host our anniversary party where we first met. So where we first met is your adverbial clauses. Hence, this is also a dependent clause, okay? Because it needs an independent clause to have a complete meaning, all right? Now, moreover, dependent clauses include all adjectival clauses which modify nouns or noun phrases. That means restrictive and non-restrictive clauses are both dependent clauses. So if you remember our relative clauses, we have like restrictive, okay, and non-restrictive, okay, but then they are still kind of dependent clauses. Example: the pen, your noun, your subject, that I had been looking for was in my pocket the whole time. That I had been looking for is your dependent clauses, okay, or dependent clause, okay, which is also a restrictive, okay, because it gives complete meaning or idea to your, or it modifies your noun. So keep in mind that with restrictive and non-restrictive clauses, that relative pronouns that and which can also act as a subject of the clause or in replacement to, okay, your subject. We have that and which. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples of your independent and dependent clause. So independent: next Tuesday will be my first day at my new job. Complete meaning. Dependent: if the interview goes well, it's dependent, so we don't really understand that. It's incomplete. Next Tuesday will be my first day at my new job. So then the sentence makes a lot of sense. Next one: you have to finish your vegetables and then you can eat dessert. Okay. So dependent: you have to finish your vegetables before you can eat dessert. So before you can eat dessert does not make sense at all on its own. So therefore we have to combine it with an independent clause. Okay. Next one: my car broke down less than a mile from my home. It didn't pass inspection. So my car, which didn't pass inspection, broke down less than a mile from my home. Okay? So these are just a few of the examples that we have for independent and dependent clauses. So I would like you to search and read more about independent and dependent clauses. Okay?
So I hope you find our lesson today very helpful. So as I always say, the secret in making your communication skills in English better is constant practice. So I want you to please keep on practicing all the lessons that we've had in the past and even this present lesson. So I know that you can do it really well and you'll improve yourself eventually. So just keep believing in yourself and practice more, okay? Now, please stay tuned to our more lessons here in I-Fal, and please visit our website that I will flash on the next screen. I also encourage you to please subscribe to our classes because we have a lot of amazing teachers that will help you and guide you in improving your English skills. So once again, this is Teacher Nikki. So I'll just see you again on the next classes and video lessons that we're going to have. I know that we will have more amazing lessons in the future. So stay tuned and good luck. Study harder and I'll see you next time. Bye.